Do 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 do. Come on. Well, there's two streams, is there? What the hell? Streams. Oh, there we go. Okay. Hello, everyone. Let me just tell everyone I'm here. Right, here we go. We're at Autopolis now today. It is the track that well, it's not the track, it's the round that we do once every 2 seasons now. New ALR tradition of a wet race, a scripted wet race. So every weather slot is at least RO5, RO5, RO6, RO7, RO8, which is all pretty heavy rain. RO8 is total carnage wetness, which we have. I think there's RO8 slots in both the sprint and the feature here. So let's go and see. You can kind of see a bit of a dry line where Andy is, but you can see on the little water gauge on the bottom left that we are in full wet conditions for the start of this one. So will people be on full wets, or will we see a couple of people try and risk it on the intermediates in case it starts to dry out? Let's go through the grid. Actually, no, let me find the standings, because from what I remember, I think 4 drivers were separated by 2 points at the top of the standings going into this one. If I can actually find it. Here we go. So SD is on 108, Blade Runner's on 108, Absolute's on 108, and Leadfoot is on 106 points, and Fracas is on 101. So the top 5 all separated by basically nothing. So we have to see where they end up shaking out at the end of this one. SD, Blade Runner, Absolute, Leadfoot, and Fracas are the ones to look out for in these races. But going through the grid, we've got Udale lining up P40. He's just said he's only had a little bit of practice on this track. Obviously, Autopolis isn't one that we've used too often, and in the wet as well. To be fair, it's a bit easier in the wet, I reckon, than in the dry. To race around, because the tyre wear's stupid in Autopolis. So we've got Udale in 14th, we've got Andy in 13th in his Suzuki VGT. We'll be getting a nice little swimming pool forming with the top down there. Then we've got Revelit in P13, a bit lower than we're used to seeing. These two both on the Inters, interestingly, so they might drop back at the very start of this one on the Inters. Also on the Inters is Unamo back in the McLaren, and Quackhouse in the Z4, managing to get himself into 10th there, one of his better qualifiers of the season. Felipe Mazda in 9th place on the Inters, and then we've got Jinx on the wets in the Porsche 911. Then one of our championship contenders, we've got Leadfoot in 7th on the wets. Shook, who did really well in Tokyo in the sprint race, not too good in the feature, in 6th also on the wets. Blade Runner's on the wets in 5th place, who's right at the top of the championship in the joint lead. Big Papa managing to get with the top guys in 4th on the wets in the Huracan. Absolute in the Lambo in wets again. And then Fred Monster's on the wets, and Fracas is on the Inters. So probably 50-50 in terms of who's on the Inters and who's on the wets here. So let's see what happens. We've got 9 laps. I think the wet-tired cars should be able to get to the front. Looks like a really slow start there for Blade Runner, dropping like an absolute stone. Fred Monster, Absolute, all trying to get into the lead here. Absolute with the inside line. It's very tricky to tell what Big Papa's there as well. Fracas really backing out of it. Everyone making it through. One of the Porsches has gone off the track, only temporarily. Looks like Jinx has had a terrible start. Oh dear. Well, a little bit. Hold on. Let's go. So Blade Runner not getting off the line at all there. Potentially had traction turned off or something. I'm not too sure. And then Jinx. Yeah, that would be a penalty. You can't move under braking like that. And Jinx absolutely twatted to the back as a result. Absolute in front though, in P1, ahead of Wally, Big Papa and Fracas Autopolis that are dropping to 4th. And Absolute trying to hold it around the long way around the corner, which you can do in the wet. You can take very wide lines through the corners to have a little bit more grip, because you're not on the rubbered part of the track essentially, which gets a bit more slippery in the wet. And Absolute holding off Wally, holding off Big Papa. Fracas looks like he's lost a position to Leadfoot here, and he's also getting challenged a little bit by Revelit, who's made a great start up into 6th now. Actually make that 7th because Shook's just got his way around. We've got a big group of cars all very close together into this heavy braking zone. You've got Shook trying to do what he can to get a position there. A little bit of something's happened to Unamo, and we've seen a bit of carnage further back. So let's see. Unamo pretty quick last time he raced. Let's see what he can do here. He's got loads of space to break into, but he just gets nudged a little bit off track there, as does Felipe with all the carnage. Too many cars up close together, and a few cars jostling for position. You can see Quackhouse is up in 8th there, but Absolute with a solid lead there ahead of Fred Monster now, and Big Pop doing really good in that Lambo. Currently fending off Leadfoot for P4, who's trying really hard to get that position. And nothing he can do there. He's got Shook putting a lot of pressure on him as well. Shook in the Audi making a little bit of progress. Fracas really struggling at this stage. Let's have a quick look at what tyres everyone's on. So we've got Absolute is on the wets, Wally's on the wets, Popper's on the wets. The top 5 are all on the wets. Fracas is trying to hold on for the Inters. You can see it is getting towards the Inters weather now. Leadfoot and Shook a little bit dodgy coming out of that final corner. They're in some heavy rain on this back straight, so it looked like it was starting to dry up a little bit, but it's got a bit heavier again. Revelit's also on the Inters. These guys are well positioned if it does dry up, Fracas and Revelit, to start making progress through the pack. They're not losing too much time. Obviously the wets look a little bit quicker at the moment. Quackhouse up to 8th now on his Inters, so he's doing an incredibly good job here. The 3rd highest driver on the intermediate tyres. Fracas struggling through these tight and twisty corners on the Inters. The wets have a bit more grip by the looks of it at this stage. But are we going to see over the next 2 or 3 laps the track start to dry out a little bit? We're starting to get under that 2/3 marker on the gauge, on the wet weather gauge. But then it does start, it is kind of going through a phase where it is getting heavier and lighter as time goes on. Popper has got past Fred Monster, and he's managed to drive away from Leadfoot pretty nicely as well. So he is up in P2 now, really looking comfortable in these. It looks like Quackhouse has just got past Revelit, so the Inters guys struggling a little bit, especially Revelit. Mazda on the Inters as well, just behind him. Some mistakes started to creep in, but we are still in wet weather territory at this stage. Maybe over the next lap or 2 it'll start to dry out a little bit. It is still raining. Felipe Mazda defending hard from Revelit there, and then you got Udele in P10 on the full wets, rising up 4 positions from the start. Tucking in behind Blade Runner, just lost that position. Blade Runner trying to recover from that terrible start where he dropped all the way to the back. And Jinx is at least ahead of one person, that's Unamo, who did drop to the back with that contact in lap 1. but at the front, Absolute still looking comfortable there. He's got the fastest lap of the race, and it has started raining a little bit heavier again in Sector 1 here. So he is definitely driving away from the pack. His fastest lap is a 2 minute 1.9. That is 2.1 seconds quicker than what Leadfoot managed. Leadfoot has got back past both Wally and Big Papa, so Big Papa making a mistake somewhere to drop back. That must have been in turn 1. These guys all very close together. Then you got Fracas in here on the Inters, seeing what he can do to try and get past. He is the highest Inters runner still, our pole sitter. He has just been overtaken though by Felipe, who is also on the Inters. And yeah, they're starting to get dropped a little bit by the wet tired guys up ahead. Is that going to continue? It does look like it's starting to dry out a bit. The windscreen wipers aren't on right now. Yeah, avoid the 296 if you don't want painful sprint races, I think is the moral of the story. I chose it in eSports, and what few positions, well, I was always last by turn 1 basically in eSports, so every time I showed up it puts you off, even though it's apart from that, it's not a bad car, but it's just such an unnecessary handicap. Look at this, everyone changing positions again. Leadfoot still in second. Mazda going very deep there. Fracas trying to get past it. I think he will. Now he might get Shook as well, who's all out of shape into this final corner. Fracas should have a lot more grip going through the last corner, potentially. Gets a decent exit. So does Felipe behind him. I feel like this is where the Inters runners really need to get positions on the wet tired cars. The wet tired cars trying to get into the wet patches on the track to avoid the car from overheating. Fred Monster going way too deep there, completely off the track and losing all of his acceleration. He's dropped about 5 positions. It's going to be even more than that, and he's completely outside the top 8 there. But Mazda's going to try and get past Fracas, but they both should really try and work together and get the way up to P1, because Absolute has broken away very nicely, and Leadfoot's broke away from Big Papa as well. So they need to get ahead just in case it rains again towards the end of the race. There's 3 weather slots in the sprint race, and the final one is a bit wetter than it is now, but we have to wait and see how much the track dries. In some tiers it got to kind of soft territory in terms of how quick the track dried, and we're not too far away from that here as well. When you're at about a third full on that water gauge on the bottom left, you can use the soft, and as long as you're sticking on this dry line that you can see on the track, you go pretty bloody quick. But if you go on the wet stuff, the wet side of it, or if you hit a curb or some white paint, you can easily get thrown off. So it's a difficult one to negotiate. I don't think we're going to see any soft tyres on this one, but Fracas really trying to get past now. They are holding him up big time here. You got Felipe Massa, you got Revelit not too far back as well. Looks like Quackhouse has been in the wars. He's dropped outside the top 8, and Andy has actually risen into the top 8, which he seems to do a lot in these races. Manages to get himself in good positions. Accelerating nicely out of the final corner. Fracas still not able to get a move done, but look at that, they are going 6 seconds a lap quicker, which is how quickly that track has dried. Andy up into 7th now on his Inters. So let's see, all the wet runners, Blade runners down to 12th now. Unamo on his Inters has gone from last up to 12th, but he's got off track. That's a big one. That's going to cost him a lot of time. He's going to drop to the back there. Luckily avoids Udale, who also nearly goes off. Now we've got Wally and we've got Quackhouse in the battle for the reverse grid pole. Wally, after his big mistake on the previous lap going off, now he's stuck battling into runners on a drying track. It's still not raining. Well, yeah, Quackhouse has his windscreen wipers on, but Wally doesn't, so I'm not sure if it is raining or not. A little bit of a bump there from Blade Runner. It is raining a little bit. It's raining a little bit. Oh, Quackhouse has got off. Overestimated how much grip he'd have in the corner, and that does promote Fred Monster up into 10th. Let's see what's going on a bit further up. Fracas has dropped a few spots. So let's see what's happened to Fracas. Oh dear, something into turn 1. Yeah, a little bit late on the brakes. You got a little concertina effect. You got Leadfoot off just ahead as well, and Felipe and Andy and Revelet have just made up 3 positions each with all that carnage. Beyond Shook gets past Fracas, so that is a huge shake-up for everybody, and all of a sudden it's looking really strong for Felipe Mazda, who's suddenly battling for P2 out of absolutely nowhere. Actually, let's go back and see that from his point of view. So he comes out, he actually gets a really bad exit out of the final corner. He's got Fracas and Beyond Shook, a big popper, just ahead of him. And then ahead of them, in the far distance, you're going to see Leadfoot, who's going to go off track into turn 1 as well. And fortunately for Mazda, he's far enough behind to see all the carnage. He makes the necessary adjustment, gets cleanly past all of them. And now all of a sudden he's in a podium position, and it's purple first sector. Andy with the fastest lap so far. Might actually be the fastest lap if the rain starts again. But it's looking pretty good for Felipe to get into P2 here. Leadfoot's on the wets. And he does have to sacrifice that position. Andy's trying to follow him through around the outside. Loads of switches for positions. I feel like we've had 10 different drivers in the top 3. Andy goes off. He's going to recover, I think. Very similar to Quackhouse going off there, but he got away with it a lot better, did Andy. A little bit deep, though, into the hairpin. That is probably going to allow Leadfoot to get past again. These two will be battling, and Felipe's managing to get a big gap ahead of them, and he's trying to chase down Absolute in P1 now. Absolute, who set a 58 on those wet tyres. He's still got plenty of life left in the wets, so he's still looking fairly in control, but I think if there was another lap or two where it was too dry like it was, I feel like it's getting a little bit wetter now. It might swing back into the favour of the wet weathered cars. I mean, Andy found it fairly easy to get back past Leadfoot. Revelet on the inters is trying to get up into 4th now. So lapping a couple of seconds slower on that one. Andy's still with the fastest lap. Yeah, I think that might end up being the fastest lap. It is properly raining now, and it looks like Felipe's gone off track in turn 1. He's lost a big chunk of time there. Andy making it through pretty decently. I think this might start swinging back towards Leadfoot here. He's got a couple of drivers that he needs to retake to get back up into P2. A little bit deep there for Andy, nothing really to worry about though. Yeah, we're going to get into full wet conditions very quickly now. Oop. This is the RO8 rain at the end of this one. And this is absolutely beautiful for Absolute at the front. He's got 2 intermediate runners right behind him, holding up Leadfoot, so even if he has a little off in these last 3 laps, it should be enough to keep the win with the pace that he's been showing. But I'll tell you what, these 2 inters, Andy and Mazda, are not putting foot wrong. They're not going to make it easy to get overtaken. Who else is on the wets here? We've got Big Popper on the wets, who's going to try and get past Revelet. We've got Shook on the wets, Fracas on the inters falling back. Jinx, who's made a great recovery up into 9th, to be fair, on the wets, could get a few more spots. And Fred Monster is still in P10, but a little bit further back. Okay, we're going to start seeing some drama here. We've got Big Popper trying to get past Revelet in this final corner. Shook's trying to follow him through, nearly loses it. Someone has lost it. That's Felipe. Really struggling in the full wet conditions on these inters by the looks of it. Obviously you have to adjust the throttle and the brakes when it starts getting wetter again, and he just goes over the last corner and face plants the wall. Meanwhile, everyone else going through, looks like Fracas has managed to get past Revelit and is going to probably get past Shook as well, so that's a great exit there for Fracas. A little bit further up, you got Andy battling with Leadfoot for P2. Leadfoot is going to get back into that second spot. Or is he? Because that was a great exit from turn 1. Looks like Jinx is up into 7th now as well. And Leadfoot, yeah, sweeps through to get that second. Let's see how Jinx got up into 7th. So got up into 8th with the overtake of Mazda, who went into the wall, which promotes Blade Runner to 10th, by the way. Everyone going very carefully into turn 1. Someone's off track. That is Big Popper. So that's a huge number of spots that he's lost with that mistake. So that is why Jinx is in 7th. Now we've got Fracas, who's going to try and queue up to get past Andy. It's getting really tricky now for these inter-runners. Shook is going to try and, well, probably be able to get a podium here. As Fracas on the inside, Andy gives him the space. And Shook's going to follow him through if he can. Loses a bit of traction. Revelit's going to get past him instead. It's all kicking off. Jinx really late on the brakes. Up into 5th now with a double overtake around the outside. What a recovery for Jinx. Maybe could have had a shot at winning this race without that first corner. But the incident was with Shook at the first corner, and now Jinx has caught and overtook Shook. Now trying to get past Revelit into 5th. Which I think, oh, yeah, should have it sewn up. Being so careful. It feels like they're crawling around, but I guess this is what they have to do. And Jinx keeps the position, is gonna, well, Big Popper's trying to get through as well, so he's just got past Revelit. Revelit falling a couple of spots behind Shook and Fred Monster too. So, 2 more laps to go. You've got these guys, these 3. Shook, Big Popper, Jinx, all on the wet tyres. And it is very, very wet now. You've got Fracas and Andy on the inters trying to hold on to 3rd and 4th. You've got Absolute several seconds ahead of all of them. And Leadfoot also looking fairly comfortable in 2nd now. Fred Monster's in this fight as well, from being quite a way off at a different point of the race. And even Blade Runner's not too far back. So everyone is very much starting to catch up, apart from the guys that have been in the wars towards the back. So Absolute lapping in the 201s. Leadfoot in the 204s. Fracas in the 205s. And Andy in the 208s. That is the difference in lap times between all these guys. 7 seconds difference. Jinx going to probably get past Andy fairly straightforward here. Fracas wants Andy to be holding these guys up as much as possible, because it's only 1.5 laps left now. And Jinx off the track. She's going to have to try and stay there with Beyond Shook, really putting pressure on all of them. Oh dear, a little bit of ping-ponging going on, and Shook has lost a couple of positions. Well, now they're even, I guess. Fred Monster. Oh no! No, no, no. That wasn't good. Yeah, not the best awareness there. That's going to be Jinx, probably, well, maybe with reverse grid pole, but that is very unfortunate after such a recovery drive. Starting the last lap, going through turn 1 already is absolute. Leadfoot looking fairly comfortable. Lapping pretty much the same. Fracas. It doesn't actually sound as heavy, the rain, at the moment. Fracas still in 3rd on the inters. Andy still in 4th on the inters. Big Popper just completely losing it. And I think that's pushed Andy off slightly as well. Everyone is all over the show. Blade Runner, I'm not sure how, is in 4th place, 5th place now. Andy's still in 7th, lost about 4 spots though. 3 spots, sorry, because of that. So that's unfortunate. Jinx back up ahead of Big Popper, so there was a big gap between, which is kind of the reverse grid pole spot for anyone who has a little spin from this top group. Oh dear, oh dear, oh that wasn't good as well. What's going on? I don't know if any of these were reported, but lots of penalty-worthy incidents getting caught. That is not too good from Beyond Shook there, that's for sure. So Blade Runner might be in... Is he even gonna be in the top 10? Maybe not, because of that. So that puts Andy back up to 6th. Shook is in 5th. Fred Monster's comfortably in 4th now, but I don't think he's going to catch Fracas. What a crazy race. Looks like Quackhouse is going to actually get reverse grid pole, but let's go to the front because Absolute is already going around the final couple of bends to take easily the most dominant win that I've seen in this tier. Really done his homework. Struggled at the first half of the season, seems to be coming into his own in the second half. Absolute with the victory. Leadfoot dropped back a little bit in the middle part of the sprint. Got ahead of the Inters runners and breezed to P2. Fracas 3rd on the Inters, very good result. Wally in P4 after a pretty anonymous race. Shook up into 5th. Andy gets 6th in the end. Revelit 7th. Jinx 8th. Big Popper 9th. And is it going to be Quackhouse on reverse grid pole for the feature? It does look like that. 10th. Then Felipe with his spin down 11th. Unamo's been in the walls in 12th. Blade Runner down in 13th after that. And Udale is going to finish in 14th place. So the bottom 4 there not scoring points in that sprint. The top 10 will get reversed for the feature. So let's find that feature race. God, what chaos. I wonder if the chat went crazy after that sprint race. I can imagine there would have been a few pissed off people. That's the good thing about commentating after the dust settles weeks later. Although I'm probably bringing up all these bad feelings again. So we got a 40-minute feature race. Let's get going. Let's have a quick look at if anyone isn't on the wets. I'd be surprised. Oh, Revelit's on the Inters. So again, he's stayed on the Inters. Everyone else on the wets. Let's see what happens here. This is the one race that we'll probably see in a long time where a 0 stop is possible. If they can make the tyres last, if it doesn't dry out too much. We're on 5 times tyre wear. Let's see what Revelit can do. Let's ride on board with him. He's on the Inters. We are kind of in the wet weather territory, but it's in the crossover bit. He'll want to get to the front as quickly as possible and try and take advantage of any kind of weather that dries, if it does dry, that is. Everyone kind of ping-ponging through these corners. Looks like everyone's made it through pretty decently. Udale's up into 11th at the start. We've got Jocker in this feature race as well, so we're up to 15th. Blade Runner's dropped to the back. But at the front, Quackhouse still with the lead. Let's give him some love as he's coming under a little bit of pressure from Big Popper. Everyone's going to crawl around here. You got Andy and Shook battling it out again around the hairpin, and Shook losing out on that one. So let's see what Big Papa can do through Sector 3. Oh, a little bit deep there for Quackhouse. Kind of opens the door. It's going to get shut again. Always happens. Something's happened. We're going to go back and see how Felipe Mazda's gone up into 6th place. Let's do that. He started very, very low. So he started 11th. He manages to get past the race winner, Absolute. Guess, oh, well, there's a bit of carnage further down. Leadfoot off the track and Blade Runner off the track. He is on the full wets, so he doesn't have a kind of speed advantage on anyone or anything. Manages to get past Fracas pretty nicely as well. He's going to take another couple of positions here. Showing he's got really good pace, which we have seen quite a lot this season, but we've seen a lot of mistakes. Shook is off track. We see Shook and Andy having a bit of a battle further up, which we did see into this hairpin. It's going to go from the inside of Fred Monster. Ooh, that's all right. Everyone kind of just about avoided each other. Does get the move completed on Wally. And then Shook caught a little bit on the outside there. Still doesn't have a position though. It looks like Fred Monster's trying to come back at Mazda, but that's not come to anything. And then, yeah, the gap is left open for Shook. And Felipe does just easily put his car there. And he's up into 4th place, which is absolutely fantastic. A little bit further up, we've got Revelit, who's still on the inters, still in 4th, which is exactly where he started. And starting to lose a little bit of time to the top 3, who are all very close together and battling. And they're all going to drive away now. Jinx with a great exit out the final corner. Does get up into 2nd ahead of Big Papa on the straight. Closing in on Quackhouse quickly. They both go deep. Big Papa might be able to get a spot here. And it is very heavy rain right now. Not much he could do, so they all got away with that one, especially going wide at turn 1. Revelit's still in the mix very nicely here. So being on the inters does not seem to be hindering him at all. Got Felipe putting pressure on him now. Felipe up into 5th. Some carnage happening further down. Lots of cars going side by side. Looks like Shook has got ahead of Andy, and Absolute's trying to get past as well. Here's Andy down to 9th. Just struggling for outright speed here. Everyone's still very close. Fracas, Unamo is at the back, but not too far back. Not enjoying the wet weather one bit though. You got the 2296s down in 13th and 14th. And Quackhouse started to gap Jinx a little bit. And Reveling side by side with, oh dear, what's going on? So here's Felipe and Revelit. And yeah, that Felipe kind of self-inflicted that one. But Revelit's deciding to wait, I think, which I don't think he needed to do. That was all because of Felipe going way too deep at the corner. Or maybe he isn't waiting, because he's driving away now. Jinx with the fastest lap with a 2:04, so we are a long way away from the times that were being set in the previous sprint race. Absolute, our race 1 winner, trying to go for a move on Felipe. Oh, Felipe's off track. Lost 4 spots very easily there. So Absolute free to try and chase down the intermediate car, Reveille. Looks like the lap times are getting a bit quicker now. And Quackhouse has lost the lead somewhere. Is it into turn 1? Is he too deep? It looked like he braked a little bit late there. And he's going to go off track. Too easy to do at turn 1. And there is Jinx taking the lead of this one in the feature. Very early doors. Almost 0 tyre wear so far on these wets. So, a little recap. We got Jinx getting chased by Big Popper for the lead. We got Quackhouse down to 3rd, still doing solidly, getting chased down now by Shook. Reveille looks like he's struggling a little bit for traction on the inters, but still in 5th, getting chased down by our race 1 winner, Absolute, in 6th. Both of them struggling to find where to accelerate out of that corner. Then you got Udale 7th and Joker in 8th. So Reveille might actually be holding up Absolute a little bit here. Ooh. Well, they're not really holding him up because Absolute's not really all over the back of him. Shook is getting held up by Quackhouse by the looks of things, and Popper's getting held up by Jinx. Let's see if he's brave in the brakes. Jinx leaves the door open, and then is probably going to get a better run out the final corner. Quackhouse might come under a lot of pressure here though. Shook definitely has a run, and that move is pretty much completed. A little bit further up, Popper's a little bit too far back. Absolute looks like he's got past Reveille though. And then Joker 7th at the head of a big group of cars. The 2296s are in the top 10 again somehow. So I think everyone's been making mistakes, because that is a lot of places to make up in about a lap. Oh dear, someone's completely off track of that. They rejoin. It's fine. So Quackhouse now, oh, Quackhouse is off. Absolute up into 4th there, an absolute gift for Absolute, who's trying to catch the top 3. Joker up into 6th now, great start for him. Fracas got spooked and just drove himself into the wall there, so he's down back to the start where he started at the back again. Loads of mistakes in this feature race. Field is starting to spread now as well. Shook having a really solid race pace-wise here, catching up to the top 2 nicely. Absolute's going to have to try and do the same now that he's got some clear air. Reveille on the Inters still in 5th place, still not a million miles back, but he needs this heavy rain to stop. If this heavy rain stops, all of a sudden, Reveille's going to be in a really good place, because the wet tyres will start heating up quite quickly, and he will be able to just cruise up to the wet tired cars. But the other thing we have to think about as well is anybody going to be zero stopping? Who is saving their fuel? You need more than a quarter of the tank left in the car at the end of this lap, I think. Oh, you need to be at a quarter at the end of lap 6 to make it to the end. So anyone who's a bit further along, Shook might be able to do it. Absolute's definitely going to have to do a pit stop by the looks of it. Jocker might be able to do it. Blade Runner might be able to do it. Andy's really doing good at saving his tyres. Felipe is in 9th. Wally is in 10th. Quackhouse should be able to by the looks of it as well. But they also have to make sure the tyres last if they're going to try this. Leadfoot's looking good for it. And Unamo is definitely looking good for it in his McLaren, but we know the McLaren is really good on its fuel. So I think it might be a 50-50 kind of split between who has to make a pit stop and who doesn't. I think in some tiers, the entire grid did the 0 stop. Obviously, it's a lot easier in some cars than it is in others. Looks like Big Popper's just happy to be behind Jinx at the moment, not really trying for an overtake anywhere. Maybe just trying to wait to see if Jinx makes a mistake. But none have happened so far in this feature. Good little exit onto the back straight for Jinx. Isn't going to be coming under any sort of pressure as we enter lap 6. Revelit is under a lot of pressure. Jocker, he'll be regretting not being able to do the sprint race because this is some fantastic pace by the AMG. And that was a good overtake. He hits the apex and everything in very wet conditions. Up into 5th now. We are still in wet weather territory, not into weather territory. Very, very heavy rain lashing down. I think there was 7 weather slots for this one. Yeah. I think it's due to get a bit drier at some point, but not too dry. I don't think it's going to get as dry as we saw in the sprint race either. We got Andy and we got Felipe having a little battle for P8. Looks like Felipe's won that one. Fred Monster struggling. Leadfoot, who finished P2 in the sprint, is struggling as well. And Quackhouse, our pole sitter, down to 12th now. Let's go back with Revelit. Let's see what our Interrunner car is doing. He's going to struggle against Blade Runner now. What can Blade Runner do into this tight and twisty sector, which should really favour his car? Old Ferrari versus new Ferrari here. Revelit defending very well, to be fair. It's not good. It's not fun when you're the only car on a certain set of tyres and the entire rest of the grid is on a different set, because you end up getting bullied if you can't hold your ground. But Revelit is holding his ground pretty well, and to be fair, a lot of the cars aren't actually challenging him. It's just Blade Runner right now. We get a really good exit. This should be it now. So for reference, Revelit in the 4s, Jocker 3 seconds quicker than him. So that's how much time Blade Runner's going to be losing behind Revelit at this stage. And he's gone for it into turn 1. The door was left open. Now he needs to out-drag Revelit, but instead he gets overtaken himself by Felipe out of absolutely nowhere. Now Felipe's going to try and get past Revelit. Maybe he's not going to be as patient. Maybe a bit more aware that his car has a lot more grip, and he gets up into 6th. So this, at the moment, it is not looking like the Inters were a good idea for Revelit, especially with how much his fuel's going down. He's definitely going to have to pit. He might struggle, actually, to finish in the top 10 at this rate. Looking through the grid, I think Jinx is going to have to stop. Shook might not have to stop. Absolutely has to stop. Blade Runner definitely doesn't have to stop, so he's in a good position, Blade Runner, despite all this. Maybe that's what's stopping him from getting the overtakes done, the short shifting. Andy is probably not going to have to stop. Quackhouse isn't going to have to stop, and Leadfoot isn't, and Unamo isn't going to have to stop. Unamo has too much fuel, if anything. So really, the only Shook might be the net race leader here. Absolute is going to have a huge amount of work to do if he wants to try and get a double win today. Ooh, and he's struggling through this sector. Revelit. Oops, that is not what I wanted to do. Revelit versus Blade Runner is the one I'm interested in, but Blade Runner really struggling for his own grip at this stage. Yeah, he's not going to be... What's happening a bit further down? Looked like Shook and Jinx were having a bit of a battle into turn 1, but Jinx still covers him off pretty nicely. Big Papa with the lead now, by the way. And maybe has an opportunity to drive away from Jinx here. Jinx struggling with the apexes, but not losing too much time to Shook at least. So let's take a bit of stock now of where we are. Unamo, oh. Leadfoot and Udale having a bit of a battle. Leadfoot really not enjoying this feature race. His last lap was a 2:08. Behind Udale in 13th. Then we got Quackhouse. We got Andy, who's been dropping down in this feature as well. Fracas had a big spin again, trying to get past Fred Monster now. Fracas with really good pace by the looks of things, but just struggling with keeping the car on track. Trying to line up Fred Monster, but Fred Monster's trying to make some progress up the field as well. Or at least they're trying to catch the guys in front. We got Blade Runner still trying to catch up to Revelit. And Revelit looking a little bit more comfortable in P7 now. We got Felipe Mazda not a million miles away. We'll have to see what kind of lap times people are doing this time round. So at the start of lap 9, Big Popper in the 2s, Jinx in the 3s, Shook in the 3s, Absolute's in the 1s, very, very impressive. As is Jocker. So we've got the top 5 getting close together. Felipe's also in the 1s. Revelit in the Inters is in the 3s, but that's the same as Blade Runner, who had made a big mistake. And if you look at the windscreen, you can see how much rain is still coming down. He just needs that rain to kind of stop just for a couple of laps. That's all he needs. And he'll catch up to that front 5 very, very quickly. Yeah, but as it stands, it's a struggle. I wonder why he's got the Brazil flag on his car. Udale and Leadfoot have got past Quackhouse, so Quackhouse obviously in the wars with a 2:07 on that last lap. And Fracas, yeah. Can't keep out of trouble. Every 4 laps he has a big issue. Here we go, Jinx trying to catch up to Popper now and put a bit more pressure on again. A little bit deep there for Jinx. Nothing really to worry about though. Coming out of this final corner, we've seen a few spins out of this last corner. Everyone looks like they're making it through just fine. Jocker's lost a lot of time on this lap, so he's had an issue. He's been caught by Felipe and he's completely dropped off the back of Absolute. And this is going to be a 4 seconds slower than his previous lap. Revelit's coming into the pits, so he's decided to get off these inters. I bet he's going to put on the wets now. But he will drop probably to last place. No one else is coming in, no one else needs to come in, but he might get an undercut on a lot of people who's going to have to come in for fuel before too long. He's obviously putting in a bit of fuel as well. He's decided to give up on the inters. Now every single person on track is on the wet. He's got a 3-second penalty to serve just to compound everything. So very, very brutal pit stop there for Revelit. Might struggle now to finish in the top 10. So what that means is Fred Monster is now up into 7th, Blade Runner's up to 8th, Andy's back in 9th, Udale is in 10th. Unamo is on for a great result here. He's just been chilling in last place for a long time. He's managed to get past people who are having incidents and issues. He's not using much fuel at all. And he's not going to have to stop. And it doesn't look like it's going to dry enough to start shredding anybody's tyres as well. So on course for a fairly decent result. Not seeing any major errors here. Ooh, a little bit deep there for Fracas. So looking at Fracas's fuel, he's got maybe 53, 54%. Compare that to his teammate who's got probably 60% fuel, but he's just gone off the track. But Blade Runner absolutely won't have to make a pit stop. And you just saw how much a pit stop put Revelit back, all the way into last place by quite a long way. Jinx has come in now. Jinx, from a really solid position in P2, has to make a pit stop. Assuming it'll be wet tyres again. Is going to come out in traffic. 11th, might be 12th place. This is going to be tough for Jinx because Jinx has a Leadfoot right behind. And to make that right ahead, Unamo making a big mistake there and a bit of a topsy-turvy changing for positions. Jinx is going to get past. Oh! That wasn't great. It actually helps Leadfoot stay ahead, strangely enough, of Jinx. That's one of those incidents where I don't actually think it would get a penalty because it didn't cause any harm if it got reported, you know? So Jinx with a lot of traffic to try and get through, including cars that aren't going to make a pit stop. I don't actually think the tyres were changed either. So what's Big Papa going to do? Is Big Papa going to respond and come in? No. They're happy just to carry on, as is Shook. Absolute, our race 1 winner, looking fairly comfortable in P3 in the 2s. Just a second slower than what Big Papa's doing. Then you got Jocker. Still in the 4s, but still running a pretty solid race now, as is Felipe. Then there's huge gaps, and Andy, oh dear. Udale in the wall there, getting the last corner wrong. Andy in 8th, Leadfoot is in 9th, and Jinx is now in 10th. Still stuck behind Leadfoot. Crucially ahead of Fracas. But Jinx will really want a lot of these guys who need to pit to come in fairly quickly. Oh, instead goes off track. There's another position for Fracas. It's all coming undone now for Jinx. Under pressure now from Quackhouse, who lifts. That's a get out of jail free card for Jinx. I know Quackhouse is going for it. No, he's not. And Unamo, after going off track that time, down to 13th. Revelit, after making his early pit stop, still in 15th place, quite a way off Udale as well, quite a way off everybody, but maybe we'll get some positions as the race wears on. Top 15 all get points in the feature. 1 point for 15th, all the way up to 25 for the race winner, and a bonus point for the fastest lap. But yeah, Big Popper is doing probably the best race I've seen. Comfortably ahead of Shook. Shook has been showing some really good pace these last couple of weeks as well, it's got to be said. Needs to work on the racecraft a little bit, I reckon. Maybe a bit lucky not to get reported for a couple of things, but is Shook's first few races at ALR. So, another comparison. Big Popper's just set the fastest lap of the race. So the times are definitely coming down. Everyone's on the same compound of tyre, so it doesn't matter too much anyway. But maybe if Revelit had stayed out a bit, he'd be in the 59s, or at least the 2 minutes, because the rain's definitely stopped a little bit. It has gotten into almost into territory, and we're getting into the period of the race where if we start seeing a dry line, these wet tyres really need to be carefully managed, or else the guys who are aiming for a one-stop are not going to get away with actually doing a one-stop. Shook is a little bit all over the place, getting caught now by Absolute at the start of this lap, was a lot closer to Big Popper. Yeah, the rain kind of coming and going in patches here. You can see that might be the first time this race that Absolute's water gauge is actually below 2/3 full. Oh, Shook looks like he's about to go off track. No, he saves it. He saves it pretty nicely. You can hear Absolute's tyres absolutely screeching through these corners. Right. So another very quick lap there for Big Popper. Shook lost 4 seconds on that lap with his mistake. Everyone else should be in the 2s and the 1s. Yeah, 1.8, a 3.6 for Jocker. A 1.8 for Fred Monster. So yeah, some really quick times on display here. Jinx still just behind Fracas. Just sets the fastest lap though with the 2-minute 0.8. That's a great lap. Now he's going to try and get past Fracas around the outside. Fracas covering it off very nicely. Revelit finally caught up to somebody, and it's very much into weather at the back here. Revelit getting past Udale, who goes a little bit deep. Next up was going to be Quackhouse. Yeah, Revelit does have the fastest lap as well. So what is Absolute going to be able to do? Just as the dry line started appearing, the rain came down a lot and then stopped again. So really patchy weather here, nothing too consistent with whichever weather setting we're on at the moment. Must be 6 or 7, R6 or R7. Yeah, if I'm Revelit, I'm regretting pitting so early. Jesus, Absolute struggling a lot. Looks like he's throwing the car all over the place. Or maybe it's a bit of lag, who knows. So this time, Popper set his fastest lap, not the fastest lap though. Shook's just set a 59 flat. So yeah, the time's definitely coming down quickly. 59.4 for Felipe Mazda. Starting to drive away from Joker. Wally with the new fastest lap, 59 flat in 6th place. Bit faster than Blade Runner. Almost the fastest lap for Andy there. Then Leadfoot just ahead of Fracas. Fracas going to try and send it down the inside here. Yeah, great overtake there. No contact as well, which is very hard to do in turn 1. And Fracas has the fastest lap and has gone 7/10 quicker again. These guys have to be careful not to overheat the tyres though. It's very easy to do when there's a dry line like this. And we're on 5 times tyre wear. Revelet in 13th now, ahead of Quackhouse. Got a bit of time to catch up to Unamo. Yeah, Revelet just pit way too early. If he'd have stayed out on those inters, he'd be probably in 1st place right now. And then maybe pit in a couple of laps time before it starts getting properly wet again. That would be probably a better strategy. Big Papa going very deep there at the last corner. Still with a comfortable lead over Shook. Set to 59.8 compared to a 58.6 at a 59 flat. So Beyond Shook is the quickest out of the top guys. Big gap starting to form now in these drying conditions. 58.9. No one still managed to beat Fracas's time just yet. 2-minute 4 for Felipe, so he's definitely not enjoying this. 59.1 for Blade Runner. Someone's in the wall again, Fracas, man. Yep, put it on the white paint, that's what's going to happen. That's the 3rd time that's happened now. So that helps Jinx up into 9th because Leadfoot got a really poor exit as well. Cooling the tyres down very nicely. And Revelet, after his pit stop, still struggling to catch up to the guys in front, despite Fracas's spin. So yeah, we'll see when these guys decide to come in for a pit stop. Big Popper is going quicker again on this lap. I think he's going to start getting caught though. Shook is dropping absolute as well. Shook's doing very solidly at this point of the race. Shook with way more fuel. I think Shook might be able to go to the end here. He'll be very borderline, but I think he might have enough here. Absolute has to pit again. Very soon, actually. Man, that is crazy. Watching his onboards is just crazy. So 2-minute there for Big Popper, a little bit slower, a 59.7. So everyone's slowing down a little bit. So the weather is getting, the track's getting more damp. Joker isn't going to have to pit again, I don't think, by the looks of it. Fred is going to have to pit. Felipe's coming in now. So let's see where he comes out. Coming into the pits there, so Blade Runner's going to overtake. We know Blade Runner doesn't have to make another stop. And Andy shouldn't either. Only putting in fuel, not putting on new tyres. And he's coming out ahead of Fracas. Behind Unamo and Leadfoot, who are having a little battle into turn 1. Neither of them are going to have to pit again either. So out of the front guys, let's see who still needs to make a pit stop. Big Popper's going to drop back a lot. Shook won't have to. Absolute's probably in on this lap. Jocker's going to survive. Fred Monster's going to have to come in. Fracas, I think, is going to have to come in. And I think Udele is going to have to come in. I think everyone else should be pretty much fine. So Shook is our net race leader. Still got about a quarter of the race left. A very slow pace in these wet conditions makes the feature a lot longer, that's for sure, because we're 34.5 minutes in. Rounding the final bend. Absolute's probably coming in now. Has to be careful on the entry. So our race 1 winner drove a great opening first stint, got himself from 10th to 3rd, and a comfortable 3rd. Big gaps behind him to come back into. Is he going to put on new tyres? A lot of people didn't. He's not. He's just putting in fuel as well, just like everyone else. Just to make him get to the end of the race, he's going to be behind Blade Runner. He's going to actually be in 6th place. Not the worst place to be in. So he's lost 3 positions. He's not a million miles away from actually getting back ahead of Jocker into 3rd. But he's got Blade Runner not too far ahead. Blade Runner up into 5th now. Shook is lapping quicker than Big Popper over these last few laps. Although this lap looks like he's a little bit slower. Actually, no. About the same on this lap. Ooh, some good power sliding going on there by Shook. So at the moment, it should be Shook. Oh, something's happening further down. I think Jinx just got past Andy, up into 7th. So good progress being made by Jinx. It's a bit of time to catch up to Absolute. So once the pits happen, it should be Shook ahead of Jocker and Blade Runner in 3rd. As long as he can stay ahead of Shook, who... Someone's in the pits. Big Popper's come in now. So he was racing around about where Absolute was. So the question is he going to be able to get out ahead? Absolute was burning more fuel. Is Big Popper changing his tyres? Big Popper is changing his tyres. So that is going to cost a few more seconds. It's going to be really close between these guys now then. He's only put in 30%. He's already out, but he's going to be slow out the pit lane. He might have just about enough, and with the fresh tyres, oh, he's got a 3-second penalty though. Never mind. That should definitely drop him behind these two. So a podium is still definitely possible for Absolute. He needs to get past Blade Runner very quickly here. And not much he could do there. Some good defending by Blade Runner. And he'll have to try again in a few more corners if an opportunity arises. Big Popper in 3rd. Wally is in 3rd. He's going to come in very quickly. And the rest of these guys are going to try and make it to the end. Super heavy weather now. And where's Revelit? Revelit's still in 13th, still stuck behind Fracas at this stage. Mazda's trying to get past Unamo, and he has done. Jinx trying to drive away from these people and try and catch Absolute ahead. As Big Popper is just served his 3-second penalty and actually has stayed ahead of these guys. Blade Runner's still ahead of Absolute as well, so that's worked out really nicely for Big Popper. Now he needs to try and drive away from them. We'll see if putting on brand new... Oh, Absolute's going to lose it. Keeps it on track, crucially. Doesn't lose too much time. Looked like he was going completely off track there. Fred Monster might be the next person that we see come into the pits. It's not going to be this time. So Shook has probably a 10-second lead. Let's see. He's got about a 13-second lead, which is crazy. So this is definitely Shook's to lose now. Big Popper is starting to drive away from Blade Runner. And Absolute's just having to settle in behind Blade Runner. It's difficult to overtake in the wets. Leadfoot looked like momentarily he was alongside Felipe. Unamo's still there. Ugh. Rebelit's got ahead of Fracas as well. And Quackhouse struggling at the back now. So what will we see here? We've got 3 laps left. Shook has probably got 3 laps. He has a bit less fuel than everyone else. Let's see what he looks like in terms of short shifting. Not really short shifting at all, to be fair. I think if it was me, I'd be a bit paranoid and I would be short shifting a bit more than that. There's not much battling going on right now. Andy's still in a solid P8. Mazda trying to catch up to him. Andy really looking like he might struggle for fuel at the end of this one. I wonder if they had to drill holes at the bottom of the Suzuki to let the water flow back out of the cockpit. Unamo looking comfortable ahead of Leadfoot. Leadfoot finished second in the sprint. This has not been a good feature race. The NSX isn't the best feature race car, but I don't think that's the reason for it this time. Although it's not got a good fuel tank on it, and he is doing the 0 stop. So maybe. Good little power slide there by Beyond Shook. Still looking super comfortable, lapping in the 2-minute ones. And Big Popper could have won this race if he'd been a bit better on the old fuel consumption. He's catching up to Fred Monster pretty nicely though. He's got 2 laps to try and get past and still get a podium out of this. See what you can do. Looks like he is closing the gap on his completely fresh wet tyres as well. I don't know if that's helping him. It should be. Red Monster indicating that he's actually going to make a pit stop here. There we go. They actually read each other's minds. So Fred's going to drop down fairly substantially. Just the fuel for Fred. Tiny bit, splash and dash. And he's going to be outside the top 10. From 3rd to 11th, that is brutal. Didn't even feel like a long pit stop as well. Comfortably ahead of Revelit, who did make a pit stop much earlier. We got some drama going on here. We got Andy, we got Felipe, we got Unamo all battling for positions. And Felipe's got past Andy. Andy is already in the red with a lap and a half to go. Oh, almost a great exit there for Unamo. No, he's going to have to settle for now. Oh, a little bit of contact between Blade Runner and Absolute there through the corner. Absolute looking more twitchy than any car I've ever seen in this race, but it seems to be working for him. Not sure what's going on with that car. Doesn't look like a natural kind of driving to me. Shook has started his final lap though. Massive amount of time ahead of Joker, who's come from last into second with an absolutely fantastic drive. Big Papa starts his final lap, lapping in the 1 minute flats, comfortably driving away from Blade Runner. 2.9 seconds quicker than Blade Runner that lap. Absolute not able to do anything to get past. Jinx actually with a great recovery after having to make that pit stop and going off at one point is still in 6th place. Pace is definitely there. Just a bit more consistency. You know what? It's probably just a bit of practice. A bit more practice. Especially towards the end of a stint, knowing how to adjust your driving is going to work absolutely wonders for a lot of you guys. Andy looking really comfortable in P8, Unamo in 9th, Leadfoot still in 10th. Fred Monson trying to do what he can to recover a position, but he's actually under a lot of threat by Revelit here, who has fresher wet tyres on. Fred deciding not to put on new cars, nearly losing it, and that is an easy position for Revelit to get as a result. There's another point for Revelit. Let's go back on with Beyond Shook, who is about to take a very dominant victory here. Really good pace, really good fuel management in the Audi, which is a very good car this season. Maybe it's going to get nerfed tomorrow or on Thursday, we'll have to wait and see. But taking a feature race win to go with the sprint from last week is Beyond Shook. A big points haul for him. And a huge margin of victory, because we've only just got now Joker coming around. He has won a feature race already this season. He's going to take another P2 with some very reliable driving here. Not really making any mistakes all race long. And managing the fuel to take second. The highest driver who actually had to make a pit stop was Big Popper. Going to take third. Still a good drive from him. A really good recovery from Blade Runner to take 4th ahead of Absolute, the sprint winner. Jinx in 6th. Could have been a lot higher again, but I think everyone from Jinx down could have finished a lot higher. Felipe Mazda 7th. We've got Andy fending off Unamo for 8th. Leadfoot is going to take 10th. Revelit has stayed ahead of Fred for 11th and 12th. Then we have Fracas, who's been in the wars a lot, in 13th. And then we've got the battle between Udelay and Quackhouse for these last couple of positions in 14th and 15th. So that's that. One more race to go before the end. So Abu Dhabi, maybe I'll do it this afternoon, I probably won't, we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, thanks for watching guys.